What's up, you guys? So we're here from OneGlanceTrader.com, and in this video we're going to go through the top 10 Forex pairs that I'm currently focusing on for a swing trades over the next 1 to 3 weeks. Now, this strategy uses my Miss Pivots rollover strategy, and if you're brand new to my channel, you can click the link down below which has the playlist and live trade examples of this strategy. And the reason why I'm showcasing this strategy today is because it's the main strategy that I trade Forex with. And secondly, it's probably the best swing trading strategy for those who have day jobs or can't spend all day focusing on the charts. And this strategy will be absolutely perfect for anyone that kind of fits that criteria. So if you like the sound of that, all I ask for is that you smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. So my MT4 terminal, pretty much for those who now been long-term fans of my content, will know that this is the kind of setup that I like to have, and I'll go through all these indicators that I've got on the screen. It may look complicated, but trust me, it's very, very straightforward and very, very basic. And all these indicators are either part of the MT4 terminal or they're custom indicators that I've built that are absolutely free. Be the first link inside the description if you want to get any of these indicators that I've mentioned. And what you'll notice about my trading style and trading approach is that I don't use one indicator as a buy signal or a sell signal. I use a combination of indicators to give me a story or a view on where I think the market is heading, and then I set my kind of alerts accordingly using TradingView to kind of do that. So what I've done is these are the 10 pairs that we're going to go through today, and I'm going to go through them relatively quickly. It's not going to be a very long video because they all follow the same premise. And as you go through this and train yourself to do this, then you guys will also start becoming aware of what we're looking at as part of this trading strategy. So I've just taken a screenshot of the first pair, and what we'll do is we'll use this just to explain what pairs we got on the screen here, and then sorry, what indicators we got on the screen, and then we'll go into the kind of analysis. So the first indicator that I'm going to go through is the one at the bottom, which is the MACD linear weighted moving average, and this is just a standard MACD, but instead of using MAs and EMAs, this uses the linear weighted moving average, which is, I personally use this for divergence, so regular um, regular bullish or regular bearish divergence, mainly looking at this for. And the reason why I like to use the LWMA indicator is because, as you can see, it's a bit more curved, wavy, or smooth is probably the right word I'm looking for here, than the standard kind of MACD that is on there. So that's the first one. Again, link is down below to pick that one up because it's not standard as part of MT4. The next ones you've got these lines here, and what these lines are is the OGT round numbers indicator, which basically just shows key levels 500 and 100 levels on the chart, because these areas tend to be natural support and resistance areas. And as you can see, I'll just draw a few examples over here. You can see consolidation there, consolidation here, resistance here, and you've got a nice one there. As you can see, it's not an exact science, but these are kind of key levels where stop loss and take profit targets are, so they're bound to be natural support and resistance areas, and these are great stop loss placements or take profit targets as well, which we'll go into. The next indicator we've got these green and red arrows, and this is the OGT RSI MTF indicator. And what this does is that it looks at overbought, oversold signals on multiple time frames. Now, in this particular instance, what I do have, I just have it set to 70-30 as the overbought, oversold, and just for the 4-hour chart. And one key thing I probably should have mentioned is all my analysis of swing chains are pretty much done on the 4-hour chart. And the reason why I've only set it to the 4-hour chart in terms of the RSI MTF indicator is most of the time, the higher the time frames you go, they respond very, very well to overbought, oversold at the 70-30 level. And if I added the daily chart on there as well, because it's such a long time frame, you're not going to get that many signals. So again, I don't take signals from this indicator alone. I just like having it on the chart to help with just seeing if price is at an overbought, oversold level. And then the next indicator, you've got these blue lines, and what these blue lines are just moving averages or exponential moving averages, and these are Dial Guppies quote unquote long-term investor moving averages. And down below I'll link down below what those moving averages are. And what this basically does is just determines to me how strong a trend is. As you can see in this particular example over here, you can see that the EMAs are all pointing downwards in order and are fanned out they're quite expanded. The more expanded it is, the more strong the trend is. And we'll take this example here of that the moving averages are compressing together to confirm a trend change, and then you can see that the moving averages fan out into this aggressive upward move. And what we'll talk about inside a second is that you can see at the current price action, we're starting to see that consolidation and fanning back out in the downward motion as well. So those are those ones. And then the last one, you have got these, well, I've set it to purple. You've got these lines over here, and these lines are the makeup of this strategy in terms of support, resistance, and take profit targets. And these are pivot levels. So this is set to daily pivot levels because they're the ones I like to trade for swing trading purposes. And as you can see here, it just shows different sizes. And the reason why it's got different sizes is that if a daily pivot is not hit, i.e. price doesn't get to that level on the day it was created, the line will continue to extend until price gets to that level. And so as you can see here, you've got these little small ones, which means that the pivot, the daily pivot was hit on the day it was created. But then you've got examples over here where this is slightly bigger, and you've got this big pivot level over here. And as you can see, on the day it was created, price has been nowhere near that because we've had this aggressive trend. And it's these missed pivot levels that I like to use as part of this strategy for areas of take profit targets, not necessarily at the exact line, but price, from the analysis I've done. And if you look at the numbers, price likes to trend back to missed pivot levels. And again, I've got videos on that goes into that, but this is the premise of the strategy, that price has a tendency to gravitate towards missed pivot levels. So that being said, we can now go through in terms of this particular chart for the Aussie CAD in terms of why I like this and what to look out for in over the coming weeks. So at the moment, first thing I like to look at is where are the missed pivot levels. So at the moment, we have got one big missed pivot level at this level over here. So for me, and when I look at this chart, I'm looking at for an entry to go short to get to, for price to make its way to this level. Now, I wouldn't set my take profit target at that level. I would use the round number levels, so this level here, to be my take profit target. So you could even have, depending on how you like to exit trades, and we're not going to go into that in this video, I'm just here to give you ideas of potential trades that you guys can take and how you manage those trades. Again, there's many different ways to do that. So this could be TP1, and then the pivot level could be a TP2, for example, or you could just set everything at TP1. At that round number level, because what you want to do is that you want to set your take profit target slightly above, in this example, because we're going short, the pivot level, because it's probably going to get there, but it doesn't have to get there. So if price is starting to make its way down, then that is where we want to get to. So that's what I'm looking at here. Now, if I look now at what's happened to price recently, so we've had some overbought scenarios over here. So price has been making its way up, and as you can see here, that we've got regular bullish divergence. This is where price is making higher highs and the MACD is making lower highs. So there's a disagreement between the oscillator, in this case the MACD, and price. That is an early warning sign or a good signal that price wants to look to reverse. And this would have been a perfect example of this mispivot over here, which had got hit. So price continued to make the aggressive move up. This created this mispivot. We had the divergence, and now price has dropped, and as you can see, hit that mispivot level. That would have been a perfect or a bread and butter mispivot rollover trade. And what I mean by mispivot rollover, so we have a mispivot, price is now making this type of move, and that's why I'm looking for this kind of rollover pattern to come back and hit a mispivot level and hit a mispivot level over here. And that's what we're looking at. So when I'm looking at the chart where we are now, obviously this mispivot has already been hit. When I say this mispivot has already been hit, so we now have this here potential as a take profit target. So now if we look at now what's been happening with price, we've got the moving averages, compressing together and potentially fanning out, signaling a downtrend, and we've got one leg down, pull back, and what I'm looking to see here is kind of this movement over here to happen for this particular pair to hit this mispivot level. It probably won't be as clean as that, but that is what I'm looking for to kind of happen. So in terms of areas to really look at here, we've had this aggressive leg down, now we've got this pullback. This could continue going back up, right? So I'm not saying you go and enter the trade now, because price doesn't have to go back down. So where I'm interested to having a look is if price breaks this low, depending on how my risk to reward, depending on where I put my stop loss, I'll be looking for a trade here or a TP there and a TP there, depending on where I get my stop loss and how I like to do it. And in this example, I like to put my stop loss above the highs. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. We've got 9 more to go through, so I'm going to rattle through them, but I wanted to take the time on this particular one to kind of explain that. So next one, there's a lot of Aussie pairs, as you can see, they're all pretty much the same. So now we're going to look at the Aussie New Zealand. So if I go and take this one, so this one you can see here we've been having a massive downtrend now since early July, and you can see here we've got 2 mispivots that are formed here. 1, 2 mispivots. So this is a bullish trade of where I'm looking at these. That is either TP1 and that's TP2 or somewhere, or maybe this round number level somewhere in between. So that's the target. That's where we want to get to over here. So what we want to look at is what's the situation over here. We have got some oversold areas over here at 3 levels. We also have bullish divergence. Price is making lower lows, and the MACD is flat to making lower highs. So that is an indication we've got oversold and bullish divergence. This to me is signifying that even if this continues to sell off, that it will want to clip one of these 2 pivot levels within this week or next week a time frame. It could consolidate out and then go, or we've got a move up, down, up here. That's kind of what we're looking at to do at the moment. So what gets me interested in at this level is when price breaks above this round number level at the 1.0003500. That's the level here. Price breaks that. We are looking to get to these 2 pivot points. So that's something, again, I will be setting alerts for and something to watch out on. So if we look at the next one, AUDJPY, let's take a screenshot of that. There we go. So this one again very similar to the first one. So let's have a look at this pretty quickly. You've got price making higher highs. You've got oversold, overbought, arrows here, and the MACD is pretty flat. what that is a very, very good sign for a potential to get reversal. And as you can see, we started to get that reversal over here. And if you haven't seen this massive pivot point already, or this missed pivot level, this is the take profit target. And what you've also got here is you have got a descending triangle forming. So you have a trend line basically doing that, and now you can see this round number level holding at this point. So what I'm expecting to see is a breakout, come back up, retest, and back down. Oh, if that even works. Price to breakout, come in, and then go down. Don't know why. There we go. That is what we're looking at to kind of get to this level. So what I'm looking for is price to really break out at that level, which is the 79.500 level. If we start getting a breakout for that, I'm pretty comfortable. It's definitely going to get to this one and definitely get to that pivot level. So we're just looking for that break and confirmation. So once it breaks, don't go straight in, because there might be a retrace back to that level and back out again. So you just got to worry about false breakouts at the same time. But this here is a very nice setup, and there's some good leeway here. Don't know how many pips it is, but in a 4-hour chart, I think it's about just over like 100 pips in terms of potential profit that we can kind of make out of this particular trade. Then we got the Aussie dollar. Again, very, very similar. You've got overbought, price making higher highs, MACD flat, and now we're starting to get that trend downwards. As you can see, this is a classic missed pivot strategy. If I just get rid of all this over here, this here made a missed pivot, price went up, and then now, and you can see it touched that missed pivot level. Again, this happens over and over and over again. You know, we've got not we've got another missed pivot over here that we probably need to be worried about as well, because price could continue to go up to hit that level there. But let's just assume for a second, and that's why we don't take trades straight away. Now what we're looking for, in my view, is a break below this particular level over here at the 0.72500 level. We break that level, I think we're going at least to this line, and then potentially to this pivot point as well. That would be a nice little trade there for about 50, 60 pips as part of that process. Then we've got the Euro Aussie dollar 4-hour chart. Let's go take a little snippet of that. Here again, now we've got an ascending triangle pattern over here. You've got a nice MACD making lower highs. You've got a nice trend line making lower highs. And again, you see again another classic missed pivot trade. Comes down, made a missed pivot, has now gone up, and look how it's forming at that resistance level over there. And that pivot point is at a nice little resistance level with the round number level. But now it's forming a part of consolidation over here. So again, you're looking for a breakout, retest, back up to this level over here, or around this kind of round number level at the 1.6300 as a potential take profit target. So again, I like this particular setup, this ascending triangle pattern, along with the other one, which was a descending triangle pattern, from that perspective there. So again, I think we're going to get a lot of potential in this particular trade. Then we've got the Euro New Zealand dollar. And if we look at this one over here, this one here is probably a bit more of a longer term play, but and this one's one where you can get some really good reward to risk. So if we look at this at the moment, we have got a lot of oversold, and we've got price making lower highs, lower lows, sorry, and then the MACD making lower highs. So we've got the down, and now we've got this big area of consolidation, which in my view, eventually we're going to break back out and start, you know, retesting some of these two pivot levels here. So I really like this as a long-term play over the next few weeks. If we start seeing that momentum here, what I would do is on this particular one, depending on your position size, I might put a small little position on here just to get my feet wet in the game, or because price could drop back at this level here, testing, because this is a nice double bottom here that we've got over here. So we are at the kind of the high point over here, but what you're really looking for is price to break out of this particular level over here at the 1.67 100 level there, for price now starting to move up, and then just trail your stop accordingly as it makes its way back up to these potential pivot levels over here. So that is that's also a really good one, bit more of a longer term trade in my view. But again, you've got some, about, 400 pips, kind of as part of that process, to kind of make some gains off of that one. Then we've got the New Zealand dollar and the Japanese yen. Let's go take that one here. And as you can see here, hopefully this is starting to make a bit more sense here. It's not that complicated. Again, very, very straightforward. You've got oversold levels there. You've got so many arrows on there, and then you've got prices making higher highs. MACD flat, bearish divergence. You've got that consolidation pattern, and now you're starting to see the breakout. MA starting to fan across, and as you can see, again, another classic pivot trade over here where price has clipped that pivot level over here. And that, again, if you got in at this level or break of this level, trail it down there, that would have shown some again a great movement here. So now we've got, the MACD is going down, price is going down. What we really want here, you either wait for the break of this level, or if you want to be a bit more aggressive, a break against that pivot. Anywhere in this moment here is probably the sweet spot of an entry. Take profit there, take profit there, take profit there. There's three areas how you can kind of manage this trade if you think that it's still going to go inside that direction, and that's how I would approach this a particular pair. Then you got the New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Again, very, very similar. Very, very similar. You've got your oversold, higher highs, MACD straight down, area of consolidation, breakout, the moving averages starting to fan out. I would wait until, I would imagine today's, when the market opens later on tonight, pivot level to be somewhere around here, looking for a hit there and then down, and then just working your way down. Probably not as textbook as that, but eventually. And again, you've got so many take profit areas over here, which you think the end point eventually it should get there. So you can trail your stop, do what you need to do, if you think price is going to do that. And now we're starting to see, the MACD pointing down on here. So this could be a start of a downtrend. But these trades happen over and over and over again, and you just got to be patient, wait for these setups to occur, and then you'll be inside a pretty good place as part of it. So you got your channel up, you got your consolidation and channel down. That's really what I like to see as part of these trades, and there's so many of them. And again, I'm scanning the charts so you don't have to, and you can kind of watch these pairs to see how they play out over the coming weeks. Two more to do. USDJPY. This one here is one of the not so clear cut ones, but the reason why I do like this particular trade is that you kind of have this kind of range at the moment, and now it's at this kind of level. I think if it breaks above here, you might be able to do a quick scalp trade, and again go to the lower time frames to have a look at that to potentially hit this missed pivot level. It's not as clear cut as you can see. We are in this kind of choppiness over here, but you can still use the missed pivot strategy to be able to kind of take these range trades here, because price likes to go back to these levels. So the fact that that means that you can trade that accordingly and go on lower time frames to have a look at a good entry from that perspective. And last thing is USD CAD. Let's take a snippet of this one here. Partly I think we've kind of missed the boat over here, and if we can get a good entry, this would be really good. What I like about this, you've got your ascending triangle pattern, which is pretty much now broken out of. Let's clean that up slightly. It's broken out of, and what I really want is that and that move. That's the move. That's the move I'm looking for. So price gets back to that kind of area, which is 1.270. We should be in a good place from that thing. And then you can see now, you've seen that fan out now. Now you can see how these MAs start to expand out. spanned up from over here. And again, if we do get to this level, you got 1, 2, 3, three potential take profit targets that we can start taking money off the table. So that's what I'm looking for. If this continues to run early next week back to there, then you can potentially get in. But because this bar closed right near the high, I would wait to see what happens, or maybe if I clean this up slightly. What you could potentially do is look to take a position here, or even better, take a position from there. If you believe that the concept of missed pivots holds true, that price wants to get there, but all signs are according at the moment that we have this breakout, and that's where we want to go. So I really hope you found this video useful about this strategy, and what I'll do is look to do a follow-up video on these particular 10 pairs probably next week or the week after, depending on how they play out, so you can kind of see how it happens. They're all not going to work, right? They're all not going to be these kind of textbook trades, but the majority of them will work out in the way that they're meant to. And this is kind of how I trade. Again, I keep it very, very simple. Been trading for a long time now, and this is something that suits my personality type. Long-term trading, swing trading, got a day job, all that kind of good stuff. And again, check the playlist down below, which goes into live trades of this in a bit more detail at lower time frames as well, so you can kind of see how that kind of looks at. So make sure you like, you subscribe, and check out some of the videos on the screen now, and I shall see you guys in the next video.